Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. A day late with this weekly update. Long story short, and I will get into it as I talk about later in the week here, but I was hit with some sort of nasty 24-hour flu or whatever, and I was basically out of commission all day yesterday, which was Sunday. So I just wasn't feeling up to making a video recapping the week, just trying to recoup and recover for the rest of the week here. So overall, training went okay this week. It started off pretty strong with the Buffalo bar squats moving pretty well here with 615 pounds. Something that I have noticed is these Buffalo bar squats are very quad intensive, and my quads feel that soreness throughout the week. And it's really a swing from where we had been with the pause squats with the safety squat bar and the snatch grip RDLs, where it was more posterior chain fatiguing. We've kind of swung the other way to my quads getting beat up early in the week. And I'm definitely feeling that on my heavier work later in day 4. And then also here with the tempo RDLs, once again getting a little heavier with these, but I would say I'm fine with the tempo that these were at. It could have gone a little slower, but I am actually making it through sets, which is good, because if you remember a couple of weeks ago, I couldn't even finish a set of 8 with 315. So, these are killer on the hamstrings and the low back for how low the weight is, and I feel like that's exactly where we're supposed to be. On to day 2, I actually didn't check my program, and I thought it was sets of 5 just continuing. So my first 3 sets or so were sets of 5. You'll see here I was using 405 pounds, so still marching the weight up, and the bicep is feeling better by the week. There's still just a tiny bit of, I call it soreness or fatigue buildup in that bicep, and I can feel it whenever I squeeze the bar to bench, but it doesn't get worse with the reps. And then here, once I finally lowered it down to sets of 4, I did finish off with 415 pounds. And this moved pretty well. It was supposed to be an RPE 8, and I think this was pretty solidly in that range. Probably even some room to push that up some more, depending on how well recovered I end up being after this sickness that I had. Then on day 3, we had our double pause deadlifts. I would say we've finally gotten in the range of weight where I'm having to try, and I'm getting fatigued by the end of this session. Early on, the weight was so light that, it wasn't bothering me at all. I think now that we've hit 450 pounds, I'm, having to take my time more in between sets, and I am feeling some fatigue at the end of this session, which that certainly does roll into day 4, but overall they still move really fast, and there's tons of room for progression there. So here we are, the day of the week that matters, day 4. I had a heavy squat single planned at 775 pounds, which I actually was feeling very confident about, especially after how 755 moved last week. But what kind of happened, and you can see even on this warm-up with 575, I just felt like I wasn't super springy. It felt stale with my lifts, especially my quads. And I had talked about how I had some fatigue from earlier in the week. I felt almost like I wasn't hydrated enough, but I have been very particular to get extra hydration in. I was chugging water to try and catch up on that as I recognized that warming up. And then especially, so 645 moves okay here, if I remember right. But my next warm up at 700, I just, I felt stale, and I don't know how to describe the feeling other than that, where it was just kind of sluggish. And looking back now that I've gotten sick after this session, I I realized that I should have picked up on that. It was one of those early signs that I was going to get sick. Sometimes you get that weird soreness in your back, your muscles don't have quite as much pop to them before a sickness. And I think that was certainly what was going on here. So you'll see 700 still moves fine, but not as well as it has over the past several weeks, which I'm certainly happy to be able to say, oh, it was a terrible day and 700 pounds moved like that. Now, with that said, I moved up to 745. I still wasn't too worried, and, that's a great sign of progress. We're hitting 745 pound squats nonchalantly at this point. But at the bottom of this rep, my right quad has just a little twinge of pain or discomfort in it at the bottom. And you can see I'm hesitant on the way up. Still moves really well, by the way. But it caused me to, think, oh, it's not a good idea to move up to 775 today. So I shut things down on squat and just needed to feel out how things were, because I wasn't sure if I had strained a muscle or if it was just something out of the blue. And I'm hoping that it was just a consequence of me starting to get sick and my legs just not being under me on the day. So I do think I made the right call in shutting squats down there, but time will tell there. Bench actually went really well, went up to 435 pounds for my Spoto press. And you'll notice I'm getting a few inches off of the chest without pain, and that is certainly some progress. So there's a good chance we're going to hit, a good bench here at Nationals. Then finishing off with deadlifts, I think fatigue started to get the best of me. Also, I was kind of down on myself for not finishing squats, kind of annoyed, and my head was out of the game. Had that in, I'm 4 hours into a workout, and I'm, hours before getting sick here in hindsight. So all in all, it was a fine training session. I'm happy to be where I'm at. And I'm feeling better now on Monday, so hoping to get back at it. So another week down. Thank you all for listening, as always. And until next time, happy lifting.